Now, we've all got either preteen or teenagers. What do you guys think is something a tip or trick or something that you would share, or maybe you already have shared with your son or daughter about AI or data or the future?
Good question.
Yeah, great question.
You want to go first?
Well, I think we should go to commercial break.
I love it.
Got to make a few phone calls.
That's right. That's right. The internet for a kid is no different than a loaded gun, man, because it can be extremely toxic, or it can be the greatest thing to everything that you do, that you touch, and affect everything that you do. It's an unbelievably powerful tool. And again, I wouldn't put a loaded gun in a 13-year-old's hand, and definitely give him free access to it.
Yeah.
Especially if that gun could come back with evil guns that wanted to do ugly things to them, or whatever or not. So, it was, I don't want my son, scared of it per se, but I do want him to fear it, right? Because I think fear is a very powerful tool, especially if you're a fighter.
It's healthy.
Absolutely. I think I just ripped off Rocky Balboa, as a matter of fact, when I just said that.
Great.
Right?
Well, that's a good one to rip off.
That's right. But I want him to use it, and I think that, again, the earlier you can master a skill that you can use for the rest of your life, I think the better, right? So, I didn't show him rated R movies when he was 5 years old because he wasn't ready for that information. So I don't know if there's a specific age that you do it, but I definitely think that, like, kids are fascinated with technology and they're drawn to it. And you know what, dude? I've learned a ton from my son. I'm going to throw that out there right now. My 15-year-old son has taught me a lot of stuff that I'm making a lot of money with right now.
That's right.
And he's going to be like, Dad, where's my finder's fee? Right? So I got you, bro. I got him. But again, so I think I would encourage parents to embrace it. But just, you're going to give a 16-year-old a car, they're going to drive one, and it can kill people and themselves. So how did you prepare them for that? Figure out those things and use those same training elements and informational deliveries that you give to those, that exposure to those teens when they do it. But I would say embrace it, man. You got to.
Yeah, well, I think you're absolutely right. It's about embracing it and using it responsibly, and making sure they have a line of sight into what the options are, so they don't have to try to touch the stove. Is there a good way for us to tell them it's hot, and not to do it? Now, I'm sure all of us here are one of those where we were told not to touch the stove. We touched it anyway.
Right.
And our children are going to be the same way, right?
Well, they're going to push their boundaries.
Right.
That's what part of being an adolescent is.
Well, you look back and you're like, you want your children to have the knowledge you have to avoid things, right? But you can't teach them everything. So you just got to lead by example. You got to lead with love, and you got to make sure that you're going to trust in their decisions.
Yeah.
You can't teach them all about the past. I remember when my brother had children years and years and years ago. They're all adults now, right? We were sitting around at Christmas or something, and they got a box of old toys out. We had a toy phone, right? Kid picks it up, and it's got a cord on it. He rips the cord out and just starts walking and talking. You never saw a corded phone. Well, we're not going to be able to teach our kids all about corded phones and everything else, but we can teach them, how to recognize and behave in an ethical way.
So the reason I asked that question is really kind of two or threefold. One, because legitimately with our children, how are we having those conversations? Because the things that we're talking about, the things that we're doing right now will change the opportunities and the jobs and the roles that are available when they get ready to enter the job market and the workforce, right? Also, I kind of look at it like we are in that adolescent stage because this is a new technology even to us.
That's right.
And, let's just say we've got a potential client. A lot of times it's like they're our younger brother, younger sister, etc., because they don't know what we know about this particular area. They may be, graduate level. They may be the equivalent of a 40-year professional in their field. But when it comes to data, or when it comes to social media, or how to leverage data, social media, AI, all these tools together to amplify what they're already doing or to be able to serve more people, they may be the equivalent of a newbie. And so it's our job to teach them enough that they can make an informed decision. And how many of these disciplines do they want to put together? Do they understand why they work together? Or some are not interested, and if you're not interested, I would be remiss if I didn't say you're probably gambling your company's future.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying you got to become an expert. You either got to hire one or you've got to start working with one.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
especially in a place like Nashville.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all about getting to the destination quicker, right? So, in my opinion, you partner up with you guys, you get your experts, fast track it, and you learn why you're having success.
Right.
That's right. Well, it's that whole analogy of you're going to pay either in time or in money, and it's up to you to choose. And there again, that's why we typically work with successful businesses already, because they have revenue, they are spending money in marketing, whether it's working or not, and we can help optimize their efforts. And when I say efforts, it's not only their effort, but it's also their expenditure.
Well, when you're looking at taking leads that are sold as a commodity, right, and making them good, but not making the lead better, but making sure that it's just more targeted, more focused on what was delivered to you,
sure,
right, based on your variables. You can probably figure that out as one of our clients. You're smart people. Nick, you're brilliant. You could figure it out. But it's like changing an engine. Do you want to learn that for the first and only time you're ever going to do it? I mean, the first time if you're in the engine changing business, the first time you did it took forever and it wasn't great. It's like tying your shoes. The first time you did it took forever and the knot wasn't very good, But we tie shoes all the time. So when we do it, then, it gets done pretty quick and then pretty dang good knot when it's all said and done. So,
that's right.
You can't be an expert at every aspect of your business. That's why you surround yourself with a good group of people. And there's things that we will never do because we're just not good at it and we don't want to learn it.
Yeah.
Well, it's not what you don't want to
Well,
learn.
we work with professionals too.
Yeah.
In different disciplines to make sure if you're trying to become an expert in everything, you're going to end up, forgetting more than you know, and somebody's out there going to be running circles around you. So again, there's times when you need to spend some money in order to circumvent the time or the effort or the bumps and bruises that we've definitely gotten along the way.
Definitely don't take time for granted, man, because again, we don't know how much we got. Again, it's the only asset we constantly invest that we don't know the current balance of,
Right.
So,
that's right.
how much time do you have? How much time do you actually have to grow that business, but while it's still a viable business or a viable concept before the world changes, so before you get left behind, as a matter of fact.
Well, the other thing that I see too, especially in this particular space that we're in, space and time, you've got a lot of things at play. Not only do you have AI coming into the picture, not only do you have opportunities like with us with massive amounts of data and targeting, social media at our fingertips, but you've also got this massive amount of boomer generation that is aging out of their businesses. So you've got a workforce that is nearing its end, that has accumulated wealth like no other has, and they have these viable businesses. You don't have necessarily the people to take them over because they're children or they don't have a succession plan. You have a generation that maybe is not interested in learning that. You have a somewhat decline in new population, and then you have these new tools. So are you going to leverage those things, and how many of those things are you going to leverage in order to maximize the opportunity to change your family tree or to increase the opportunities in your company or for the people that you're responsible for that are in your charge? Or are you going to be on the sidelines watching somebody else?
It would be a shame. I was always told never take the chef out of the kitchen, right? He's not creating that next gourmet masterpiece. Learning how to market data, how to be a better steward of their data. It's just not going to happen. But what could be great is when that chef goes in that kitchen and creates that next masterpiece. Well, then his data partners are like, "Great! Now that you did that, here's how you tell them."
That's right.
Exactly right. That's exactly right.
Yeah, exactly. What do you see as the biggest? This is both of you. What is the biggest opportunity that you see? Not just with our group working together, but just in general. Like what are you most excited about right now?
I've got an unbelievable network. I'm blessed with some amazing relationships with some very, very high performing people and high performing businesses, and they all need this, unanimous. Like, it's unreal, right? They need this.
Well, on that same note, surrounding myself with A plus operators is really key for me, like Nick. But I think where we're going to turn a corner, and what I'm excited about is, we were talking about all this automation, and it seems like there's just going to be a lot of phone calls to the same person or something. Well, it could be that, or if you figure out how to scale it, it doesn't have to be. It could be you just get the relevant stuff. And I'm excited about seeing how we can make it relevant, not only for our customer, but their customer.
Yeah.
If this was a retail place, they're always trying to figure out, the placement on the shelf is extremely important. Where can the customer find what they need in the right place? It's always frustrating when you go to the grocery store and they always had the Krispy Kreme donuts. They're never in the pastry aisle or with the donuts. They're always in the middle of something somewhere else, and you got to it's always a mystery to me why they do that. And at the end of the day, we're finally starting to realize that the data or the digital information that we have about other people is an actual asset of the business or the brand that, again, when you have an asset, assets can gain value, right? Just like the home that I live in. So when you exit the company or anything else, the asset can go into the price point of the sale and everything else. But more importantly, as you accumulate more and more and more data, just like the retail store is going to constantly rearrange where they put stuff to get better performance, to make it better, to make it easier for people to find so they can consume more of it. I believe you should be doing that with your data all the time, because a year from now, how much more am I going to have and how much more am I going to know about it? Right. So I would want to work with you guys and be like, all right, so here's the mountains of data that we have. And what's the best way to reorganize it and reuse it and over and over again to do more business and to do more good. So it's not just getting it and, getting it, dumping it, running it, burning it, moving to the next thing. It's like, nah, dude, it's an asset. Again, if the people moved, I want to update it, because I want to be able to, I love being able to tell strangers or clients, happy birthday. I love being able to build relationships just from the data that I have with the automation and the amazing digital tools that we have at our fingertips.